and kick the monthly presentation on the DStar crash course. We're going to kick it over to Jeff, AB0L, and his tag team partner, Ray, N0KEG. So, gentlemen, the floor is yours. Take it away.
All righty. Good evening, everybody. This is Alpha Bravo Zero Lima. And so let me throw some slides up here. Dun, dun, dun. Share. Okay, can we see that?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Woohoo! Okay, so first, apologies in advance. If I freeze or start slurring, I'm noticing I've got a little bit of internet dropout going, and I've had 3 fingers of tequila. Hi.
Sweet.
Yes. Okay, so these first few slides are actually from John into SRK. The John.
SJW.
SJW. See, the tequila's kicking in. He unfortunately can't be with us this evening. He's got some family commitments. He's hosting some folks that are escaping the fires back out west. So good on him. And family comes first, of course. So Dancing with the Ham Stars. So as you all well know, the repeater committee has been very busy, and I encourage everybody to go check out the photo gallery on the website. There's a bunch of pictures from all the work we've been doing up there at the site, at the SQA site and others, and very cool. Definitely recommend checking them out if you haven't already. So it's just some quick updates of what's been going on with our repeaters. This be review for most folks, but just in case, up at Squaw Mountain, 10,600 feet. We moved the DStar repeater from Franktown, and it's rocking. We added a 2-meter repeater, as Paul mentioned earlier. We have full internet capability up there, which is pretty cool. We've got that took some gyrations, but we got an internet company to come put a microwave antenna up on the tower as well, giving us some nice streaming internet service. We have AllStar on the 2-meter repeater, and I'll be covering that here momentarily with more detail. Over on Don's side, W0CFI, you may or may not know that his repeater, the one we've been using forever, was actually higher up the mountain, and he got an eviction notice. That site he was at got sold, so he moved down to the same location we're at. He actually is the one that got us access to this site, so big kudos to Don. So the WCFI site is basically the same place we are, and I don't know what Don did, but the coverage for CFI actually improved even though we came down the mountain. It's just fantastic. Although unfortunately today, WCFI has been a little bit unhappy. I know Don's been aware. I'm not sure what the plan is, but that repeater has been a little bit cranky. It's been working so many years, maybe it just needs a little TLC. The other big one, and I'm sure you've heard Don mention it on the nets, is he's put a 6-meter repeater up there on the hill as well. If you have a 6-meter capability and you haven't played with that yet, please take a moment, get that set up in your rig and check that out. It is extremely cool. And as Paul has mentioned, Hollywood Hills, definitely progress happening there. We're waiting on a little bit of infrastructure, but the Fusion repeater is up and operational right now. So if you're in the Parker area, you probably can't hit it. And I know a number of people have. So our new VHF repeater, 2 meters, 147.165, a positive offset. John did decide to go with a DCS code on that, not PL tone. So I think most people have figured that out. It's not too tough. It's basically just checking some different options in your radio. If you are struggling with getting this set up in your radio, please reach out to anybody at Parker Radio Association via the website or board at parkerradio.org. Any way you can. Give a call for help over on CFI. We'll get you set up. But the digital code actually cleans up some of the squelch tails a bit and sounds really nice. So was the reason we went that way. The new VHF repeater is AllStar capable. And I will interject here. Not only is it AllStar capable, AllStar actually runs it. So the 2-meter repeater is basically 2 RF decks into a duplexer up to an antenna. There's no brains. The brains are all being driven by AllStar, which is extremely cool. We'll cover that a little bit more briefly. As Paul mentioned, there's still some improvements to the receive sensitivity to the 2-meter repeater coming. You guys have been working really hard on it. I think they're maybe shooting to get up there this weekend. Just some details about the site itself, 10,600 feet. Currently, the 2-meter repeater is about another 15 foot higher up the tower. We're currently operating on a shared non-protected pair. We are on the waiting list for our own coordinated 2-meter repair, but as you know, some folks know that's you know, scarcer than hen's teeth. But we're on the list and we're waiting. And so far, it seems like this non-protected pair we're on is working pretty well. I don't know that anybody's received any complaints or grumblings about stuffing on somebody else. So I think we're pretty good. Yeah, some of this AllStar stuff, I'm just going to skip through because we'll cover that in more detail here briefly. Ray, in a short bit, will cover some more information about DStar. That repeater was originally at Franktown, as Paul mentioned, and it's now up on the tower. A little bit of backstory there. There was an abandoned UHF antenna way the heck at the top of this tower, and we took it. And it was like a 1-to-1 SWR, so it was a perfect match. Just the stars aligned, and DStar now screams, and the coverage is just absolutely insane. People are loving it. Of course, the DStar, because of our internet, is linked to the PRA Mega, but it can be steered to other reflectors as you desire. And after 15 minutes of no activity, it will go back to the default 223 Bravo. Let's see. Oh, and then last but not least, we've also got, we mentioned Don's repeater earlier, a 6-meter. There's the details on it. And I'll put this deck up on the website as well later. So if you haven't captured that information yet about the input and output of the 6-meter, please do check out his repeater. He's put a lot of work into it, and it's really cool. It's definitely works really slick. All right. I think we're coming to the end of John's deck here. So I guess yours truly will cover a little bit of AllStar that's running the guts of the 2-meter. And then Ray's going to take it away with DStar basics. All right, AllStar. Now, I think it was actually exactly a year ago. I think the September meeting last year, I covered AllStar in a overachieving and rambling and eye-glazing 40-plus slides. And yeah, whoops, sorry about that. I promise you this one won't be nearly as bad. Tonight we're going to talk about basically the use of AllStar and how you can actually take advantage of it tonight if you choose to do so. As I mentioned last year, you know, people are like, what the heck is this AllStar thing? Well, AllStar is basically a tool for linking analog sites, analog repeaters or analog radios over the internet. So if you're familiar with DMR, DStar, or Fusion, this is actually very, very similar. But the key difference is in the digital protocols that you're all familiar with, the conversion of your voice to digital is happening inside your radio. With AllStar, the conversion from voice to digital actually happens inside of what AllStar calls a node. And this node basically interacts with the repeater or the radio that it's attached to and converts to digital, passes it off to the internet, and spreads it around the world. So very cool. Another name, there's other protocols like this as well. I mean, there's Echolink and IRLP. We won't touch on those tonight, but just so that you're aware, these all fall in the same kind of fold of what they call voice over IP linking protocols. So AllStarLink. Probably the real kicker here is that it uses a phone system. PBX is a phone system, private branch exchange. So the guts of AllStar is actually a phone system, which you're thinking, what the heck? But it's actually really cool because that takes care of the heavy lifting of switching and connecting and protocols and making sure that there aren't routing loops and that kind of thing. So it's really pretty slick. So the fellow by the name of John Dixon, silent key, WB6NIL, he's the father of all this. So he wrote a module for Asterisk called app_RPT, app repeater, basically, which made a repeater behave as a phone on a phone system. And we went from there. It's brilliant. It's simple code. It's elegant. And Jim and his brilliance, he made his code public domain, so anybody is welcome to use it. The original AllStarLink was a commercial product. Now it is free. You can just Google for AllStarLink and you'll find the pages and be able to download the software yourself. But the way open source things happen, I mean, there's a basic spin-offs and variants as well. One of the most popular ones is HamVoip, and HamVoip is actually what we are running on the link at SQA and for our W0 CFI link. It is a fork of the original AllStarLink, but it's dedicated. It was made with a specific focus of working on really small computers like the Raspberry Pi. And so it's very low cost, low barrier to entry, that type thing, and super reliable. There are other versions of AllStar out there as well. I know there's one called RasLink by Jeremy Lincecum. He's actually in Denver. He's a visually impaired ham, and he developed a version of AllStar that is completely command line based, which makes a lot of sense. AllStarLink is actually quite extensively used in Colorado. The Colorado Connection repeaters, that entire network is all linked together via AllStar in a private network over microwave links. So incredibly powerful, useful tool. Okay, so here we've got, and you can also see this on our on the air page. So I've updated this. Its current shows kind of the connections that we currently have today. So we went with a hub-based system, and this hub, this AllStar Hub, which is the number is 410.460, is the PRA's gateway to the world. So anybody in the world can connect to us, and we can connect out to anybody in the world. But then we've got some specialized links as well, including the one, of course, up at SQA that is a permanent, persistent connection. You can't manage it. It just stays up and nailed into the hub. And then we have an on-demand link into W0 CFI, as you see on this map, and members can bring that up and down at will. And we automatically bring it up on a Tuesdays for the analog nets. So basically, anybody on CFI can hear anybody on K0 PRA and vice versa when these things are all attached together. And of course, if you build an AllStar node for your home, like many of us have, then you can join in as well, or anybody on the internet can. So it's super easy to use. So if you wanted to get into AllStar yourself at home, a number of options. First off, there are commercial AllStar hotspots that are turnkey. You buy one of these puppies and plug it in, and just like you do a Zoom spot or anything like that. I mean, it's just ready to go. Hook up, put a few entries in, set up your AllStar account, and you're on the air and connect wherever you like. Unfortunately, these things are not super cheap. Turnkey comes at about $450 to $500. That's exactly not a bargain. It's just not as big of a market as there is for like the open spots and so forth. But they do exist. As a compromise, if you're not super comfortable with building things, but you can put connect things together, there are things like this thin client module that aren't quite as expensive. Basically, you just need to plug into a radio that has a URI style interface, basically a USB connection, USB, a serial type connection on the back, usually a DB9. I know a lot of the Motorola's, it's easy to build a cable for. There's another radio brand that escapes me at the moment, but they basically offer UHF and VHF mobile style radios that basically become plug and play with a cable into this. So, I mean, if you are interested in doing your own type of node, please feel free to reach out to me directly, and I can get you more info here. But the most common way to get into AllStar is people roll their own, and it's crazy. I mean, everybody goes all kinds of things, from briefcases to complete kits to just pieces cobbled onto a table. It's crazy. But in a nutshell, I mean, you're basically looking at a Pi and some sort of a radio adapter to connect to basically get you your audio in, your audio out, and a couple other push-to-talk signals and so forth. Yeah. So if you're handy with technology, there's a lot of options out there to on the internet. Google AllStar nodes to get these kind of things built. I mean, quickly, I think I can share everybody. So just cable around. So this is the one I brought to the meeting last year. So this is my portable node. I basically take this.
It's still presenting.
So is that okay? I'm continuing.
You built that?
Yep. Okay, so yeah, so this is my portable node I carry with me when I travel. People have heard me connect and participate on the analog nets from Hawaii. This is how I did it. So basically, this is a Raspberry Pi and a Masters Communications radio adapter board. It's about $40. It's a nice solder kit you build all through hole, and a hacked up Baofeng 888 radio for like $19. So basically just took the guts out of it and put it inside here. So, and it works pretty fantastic. So
that's really cool.
Flip back to the presentation here real quick. Again, so if anybody has any questions about building their own AllStar nodes or how to get into this world on their own, with their own node at their own house, please feel free to reach out by all means.
And Brian K0FBS posted, can you convert a Zoom spot to an AllStar node? Was a question in the chat.
Thank you. No, actually you cannot. I mean, they again, because of where the conversion from analog to digital is happening. With the Zoom spots that are doing DMR and DStar and Fusion, they're already, the heavy lifting has already been done for them inside your radio. So they're basically just dealing with a digital packet stream. So they're far less sophisticated than an AllStar node, where you've got to actually do the audio to digital conversion inside the device itself. So no, you cannot, unfortunately. So here's a quick look, and we're going to go live on this one here momentarily as well. So this is the PRA AllStar Hub Manager. So you can find this on the PRA website. It's right there on the main menu. It is a members only feature, so you do need to be a paid member of the PRA to take advantage of this. But it's important to mention you do not need to be a PRA member to utilize our AllStar infrastructure. Anybody in the world can connect in. It's wide open. It's advertised in the directory. And it can get crazy. We've seen it get really great. I have seen upwards of 300 nodes linked into us at one time. So it can become quite the party line. So from this UI, basically we allow members to connect and disconnect nodes at will. So if you've got a friend over on the East Coast and their repeater is AllStar capable, you'll be able to type in their node number, connect, and in seconds, you'll be able to have a QSO with them. And in fact, we see that happen all the time. We've got a member in the, I'm sure it's a member, we have somebody I think it's a member in the Parker area who has a good friend on the Big Island of Hawaii. And they link up the AllStar stuff all the time and have QSOs, and it's really cool. So I've ended up having side tangents and good discussions with the fellow he's just north of Kona, and apparently he runs a number of repeaters on the Big Island. So it's extremely cool and extremely powerful. All right, so let's flip over to our website and do a real quick demo here. Share a different window. That's not what I expected. What are you seeing?
The parkradio.org/PRA-AllStar.
Okay. Well, I can't see that. Yeah. Hang on here. Okay. Is it still showing?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, cool. So this is the page I was talking about, the PRA AllStar Hub. The quick top, the top here, we kind of got a list of a directory. These are the PRA specific AllStar nodes, including our core hub number itself, 410, 460. There is the details for the link to SQA. Like I mentioned, it's permanently linked, so you don't really have to mess with it. The link for CFI is 410, 462. I would love to demo with that one tonight, but like I said, CFI is having a bad day, so we're going to pass on that one. But so right here, hopefully everybody can see the current bubble map. So this map actually updates every 3 seconds. So I showed you my personal node earlier. I am going to, on my HT, I'm going to command my personal node to connect into the hub here. So stand by.
Four, 6, 0, connected to node 4, 7, 8, 1, 8.
Okay, I apologize for that. I had the volume down at first there, but as you can see on the bubble map now, node 47818 is now linked into the hub. So any traffic that I send out through my HT goes to this portable node that I built and off to the internet, to the PRA hub, and then gets repeated out on any of the sites you see. So you can see we've got Dave currently linked up, Ray is linked up, and of course our SQA is linked up as well. So there's a quick example here of what what members can do from the web page itself. I'll go ahead and disconnect my node from right here. So I'll go 47818 and disconnect and execute. So what's happening behind the scenes here is, whoops, these commands are getting kicked off to our AllStar Hub for execution. And after about 10 seconds, this will redirect back to the hub page. And if we wait for the bubble map to refresh, there we go. I am now disconnected. So again, this is a members only feature. And so the important part to remember here is you can do AllStar today with literally nothing other than your VHF radio. You do need to have VHF because SQA is VHF, of course, but as long as you've got a VHF radio, you're ready to go full on with AllStar. You can use the website interface to link up to places around the world, and you just start talking on the K0 PRA repeater up on SQA, and your traffic will be repeated everywhere that you've linked. So incredibly powerful stuff. And you don't have to have a fancy DMR or DStar radio. The Baofeng you disavow to owning can do it today. So anyway, at this point, I am done. So I will pause for any questions before we hand it off to Ray.
Nothing new in the comments as of yet. But I knew at some point you were going to do you were looking at doing a pie hat. Are you still looking at doing that?
Man, I gotta find my window again here. I'm sorry, I got too many windows open. There we go. There, oh, okay. Now I can see people again. Yes, I am working on developing an actual Raspberry Pi hat that greatly simplifies this, so that would have the UHF radio and audio interface all in one. I've got designs, and I've got a number of DAC chips either on site or on the way that I can play with. Just so many projects going on. I'm trying to get antenna stuff done before winter comes, and I've been working on some non-ham stuff for some other club members. So, but yeah, hopefully by the end of the year, I should have something available.
Awesome.
All right, Ray, take it away with DStar, please.
I gladly. Here, let's share. Is the big presentation up?
Yep, sir.
Yep. Yeah, and Doug just commented in the chat that W0CFI is working currently right now.
No, good to know. All right, we'll dig into DStar here in just one sec. The last thing I wanted to drop out there is if you were paying real close attention to the bubble map of our links, you saw my frequency for my quote unquote node was 449, 425. That repeater used to be at the water tower. The PA died in it. So if you're one of the few that was actually using the 449, 425, I'm sorry to say that the big PA is dead. It's running still here in Parker. It puts out, I think, a whopping 6 watts after the duplexer. And I'm just running it here out of the house. So it's still connected to AllStar just like it used to be, but the range is going to be severely diminished from what you're used to. In lieu of that, we installed our DMR machine there. The 445075 is now at the water tower, and it runs great on that antenna. So, you know, we did the best we can with what we had left after that repeater gave up the ghost. So that's kind of the end of AllStar. We'll get into the other star, DStar. This is not meant to be a full DStar presentation. You may have seen some of these slides before because I stole them out of other PRA presentations. So our DStar machine up on the hills on the same coordinated frequency it's been on for years of 446.850. So if you used it in any of its previous incarnations when it was out in Franktown, I guess it did some time up in Thornton or something somewhere. It was before I was a club member. But at any rate, that it is out there way up high, running really well. So if you got to use it way back when, you probably don't even have to change any configuration in your radio. Call sign registration on DStar is kind of confusing these days because you don't necessarily have to have a call sign registered, but sometimes you do. And here's the difference. Originally, there was the US Trust DStar system where repeaters and call signs had to be registered. The PRA machine used to be on the US Trust system long ago. So it is registered on the US Trust system and can link out to anything else that is. Most of the US Trust assets are linked to reflectors, D+ reflectors that start with REF. So if you want to link our machine out to an REF reflector, our machine is completely capable of it, but your call sign has to be registered too. The XRF system, the DCS system, is the open system. Registration is not required. So if you run into an issue where, hey, I can talk just fine on an X reflector or a DCS reflector, but you can't talk on an REF reflector, it's probably because there's something wrong with your call sign registration. And you only have to register once. You don't have to register on a per gateway basis or for every repeater you're going to use or anything like that at all. So if you do try to register more than once, it's going to cause a bunch of problems. So as long as you've got that one-time reg in, you're doing good. In order to register your call sign, the best way to do it is to go to the centralized registration page. It's regis.dstargateway.org. These slides will be out there So you can click the link later, or you can just Google DStar registration, and that's going to be one of the first ones that comes up. Originally, there was no centralized system. So back when it was just US trust only, REF reflectors only, each repeater's gateway was able to provide you registration. You still only had to register once, but any of those gateways out there could do it. So if you registered on some gateway years and years ago, whether it was in Colorado or somewhere else, it doesn't matter. Your registration's in there, you're still good to go. So any questions on registration? All right, good stuff. And Wayne, if you see questions pop in, stop me, okay?
Yep, will do.
All right. So there's two halves of the radio config you got to do. There's some generic station setup, like your call sign and one or two other minor things, and then there's the actual repeaters configuration. So we're going to talk about the general radio stuff first. These screenshots came from an ID 31 or an ID 51. They're both extremely similar. Your 7100s and your 5100s, your 4100s, it's going to be remarkably similar. ICOM does a very good job of keeping their interfaces pretty standard between all their radios. So the first thing you want to do is go into your menu, hit up My Station, and there's two things you can set in there. One of them you got to do. You got to put a call sign in there. You don't do anything with suffixes or anything like that, just your government issued call sign. And then optionally, you can put a transmit message. So if you ever noticed on your radio a little scrolling banner under a call sign when somebody calls in, that's the transit message. The transmit message can be anything you want. Keep it clean. You know, the rules of amateur radio should apply. But yeah, you can put anything you want in there. You can put M for mobile, or a catchy tagline, or your favorite reflector to hang out on, whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. Or just leave it blank and nothing will come up down there. So the original guy did these slides, I guess, was KD0YCR. So thanks, Chris. And you just set up, one call sign under my call sign. You can set up more call signs if you're registered in multiple countries or something like that, so you could easily change back and forth that way. And then, like I said, the transmit message, you can put your name and location. You can put, that you're mobile or whatever you want to do. So they're, again, completely optional. And that's the generic radio config. Very, very simple to get the basics going. All right, so this is where things get a little weird. There's, with great power comes great responsibility. Other digital modes, you can just put in a frequency, hit the button, and go, and you're on wherever you're linked, and that's that.
Hey, Ray.
Yes, sir.
There was a question from Forrest. How do you find your old login for DStar and/or the reg number?
That's a tough one. If you registered way back when it was the decentralized system and you registered with a specific repeater owner, you would have to log back into that repeater's owner's gateway to find your registration. Now, if you go to the centralized registration, it should show you as an active registrant, but you wouldn't be able to get any other info after that. You can probably email the original gateway owner if you remember where you registered. If not, there might be another way to find it, but we'd have to take that offline. So, Forrest, if you can't find your registration, shoot me an email and we'll track it down for you. All right, was that the only question, Wayne?
Yep, so far.
All right, cool. All right, so there's two ways to put a DStar repeater into your radio. You can just program it in like a channel, just like any other analog channel you put in your radio. You can put it in and set up a couple of your digital options, and then you just spin your knob to that channel and go. However, like I said, DStar offers a whole bunch of really cool features that the other digital modes don't. And that's call sign routing, linking repeaters directly to each other without using a reflector, and all other kinds of really neat advanced stuff. We're not going to get into all that tonight, but we can do that another night if there's enough people want to know about it. But DR mode allows you easy access to all of those advanced features. Call sign routing, I think, is the coolest one. Like I said, we'll talk about that another day. When you're programming your radio in DR mode, you need to add any repeaters and any reflectors you want to use to the digital repeater memory, not your generic channel memory, but specifically the DR mode memory. All of the REF, US Trust reflectors and associated repeaters will automatically be in your DStar radio when you get it out of the box. ICOM preloads all those from a database. So like your, Ref 001 and 030 Charlie, a lot of the real common reflectors out there, they're already going to be in your radio. The K0 PRA repeater, because it's been registered with the US Trust system for so long, will already be in your radio. If there's other repeaters you want to add, like my little VHF machine here in town, you're going to have to manually add that in, because that's not a US Trust repeater. Hell, it's not even ICOM hardware. It's some baling wire and duct tape that's now a repeater. So any non-trust reflectors or repeaters, you're going to have to manually add in there. But you add them once and you're done. And just like on HF, I wanted to throw this out there. Listen before you transmit. These digital repeaters, they can be linked in Lord only knows where. You can send the info command and it'll tell you exactly where it's linked in. You can log into its dashboard page and see it on your computer if you happen to be in the shack. If it's linked somewhere other than our reflector, the XRF 223 reflector, odds are one of our club members linked it there for a reason. Maybe they didn't put their toys away when they were done and they left it linked there when they shut down. But at any rate, listen for a minute or two, send the info command, and then ultimately, if you really think somebody might be using it, you can send a local repeater call asking if it's in use, just like you would an HF frequency. Okay. Any questions so far, Wayne?
No, just Brian did make no questions, but there was a comment just saying that the ISS repeater was passing over in the next 10 minutes. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, that's worth telling everybody about. Get your dual band, dual VFO radios fired up. Listen for the ISS. That's big news this week, man. All right, so memory mode settings. Like I said, it's just like setting up any other memory channel in your radio. You do your frequency, you do your offset, and you do your mode, right? Typically it would be FM. In this case, it's going to be DV, digital voice mode. Then the three other things you have to put in, like instead of doing an analog tone like you would on an analog repeater, you got to put in the right stuff to access the repeater. So you're going to find three fields, whether you're doing this in RT systems or doing this in your radio itself. And that's repeat 1, repeat 2, and your call. Now, your call isn't your call sign. Your call sign is my call. And that's the thing that confused the crap out of me when I first started playing with DStar. Your call is where you want to go. It's your destination, not who you are. So repeat 1, our repeater is K0 PRA module Bravo. Bravo just means it's a UHF machine. If you see some machines are Charlie, it's because they're VHF machines. So K0 PRA, there's 2 spaces and the letter B for Bravo. And then in repeat 2, you want to tell the call to go out the gateway. That allows you to go out to wherever it is linked to. If you leave repeat 2 blank, you can still use the repeater as a local QSO and it won't go anywhere. So you won't tie up the entire link system having a local QSO with somebody else on DStar. That's a perfectly acceptable thing to do, is to leave repeat 2 blank and just have a local call. And finally, your call, your destination where you want to go is CQ, CQ, CQ. That should be easy for any ham to remember. And that's just saying I'm calling any station. Another use for your call, we'll get into another night, is you can put somebody's call sign in there and the DStar network will go out and find them and just have a point-to-point call, if you want to call it that. So that's why that field exists, because you can route traffic anywhere you want with it. So again, repeat 1, K0 PRA Bravo, repeat 2, K0 PRA G for gateway, and then your call is CQ, CQ, CQ. Remember, there are 2 spaces between the call sign and the command letter. That command letter that tells the repeater what you really want to do with your traffic always has to be in the 8th position in that field. The field is as long as it is because it accommodates for 6-character call signs, or I'm sorry, 7-character call signs, and then your control letter at the end. Being that we have a vanity call for the club, we're only using the first 5 characters, so we just burn up that extra double space, you know, to get that control command where it belongs. Okay. Last bit on memory modes is you can store multiple memory channels that look exactly the same except for that your call field. So in that your call field, instead of CQ, 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 like you just want to get on there and rag chew with somebody, you can put in a reflector linking command. And, you know, an example would be REF001C, that's reflector 001 module C, and that 8th character, that command, is L for link. And then you can just unlink the reflector by putting a U in the very last space. You can do echo. It's kind of like parrot on DMR, and that will echo back exactly what you say to the repeater. If you're playing with your mic or you're wondering, is your RF really making it? You can have a channel set up that will just echo your traffic to the repeater and back. And like I said, the I command, I think I use more than any of the other ones. I will tell you where the repeater is linked, and it will tell you linking to or connected to, depending on if it's trying to link and can't, or if it actually has a link up. So, you know, listen closely to what comes back on the info command. Also, it will send back the info as text on your screen on any of your DStar radios. So you'll be able to actually read where it's linked to if you're having a hard time copying the repeater. And again, I can't stress enough, that 8th position is where all the magic happens in the your call field. If you don't have a command character in the 8th position, nothing will happen. It'll just be like your traffic went into a black hole. All right, any questions so far on memory mode programming?
Nope, nothing as of yet.
All right. Okay, so DR mode. Like I said, DR mode's really cool because you got a whole pile of repeaters programmed in your radio from the factory. If you start looking through all the different areas, every US state is listed. There's countries all over the place, have tons of repeaters in there. You can download updates for your radio as well with the latest repeater list. You can augment it with any of the open source repeaters that are not on the trust system, but you have an entire database of repeaters in that radio when you get it out of the box. And I'm glad to say K0 PRA is one of them. So you can just go into your DR mode and select a from and a to. A from is going to be the repeater you're on, or maybe your own hotspot you programmed in there or whatever. And then to, you can just send a CQ, CQ, CQ call or a link command or whatever. And we're going to show that here in a sec. So apologize for that bottom screenshot. It's kind of blurry, but so in DR mode, I'm going to make this as simple as I can for the time being. We're not going to get into the call routing or any of the other fancy stuff. As your radio comes out of the box, you can do 2 things with our repeater. You know, first you would choose the repeater in the from field. Then you hit the little arrow up and you can choose the to field. So if you look in the top screenshot, it just says to CQ, CQ, CQ. That's just a local call on the repeater. It's not going to go out any links or anything else. That just stays on the RF side of a single machine. So you can have a good QSO with somebody or do a check or whatever you want to do. Now, if you actually want to go out of whatever is linked into that repeater, you would choose the use repeater mode, where it's actually going to use the repeater's connection to get you out somewhere. So the local call, you just hit the center button on your navigation for your ID 51, or there's a DR button on the face of the 5100. I forget how you do it on the 7100 off the top of my head. I think it's got a DR button on it too. But then you can go in and select the option with your channel selector. It'll scroll through all the different options. You would select the option for CQ, CQ, CQ. To do the network call, you have to go a menu deeper. So you'll use that menu button again, that center button, select your call sign, and then select use repeater. After that, key up, and you're going to take the link and go anywhere. So that's a real handy way to make a local call on a repeater and not tie up an entire network. It's that easy to toggle back and forth between the two. So hope that made sense. Anything for us in the chat, Wayne?
Nope, still good.
All right. The last command I'll show you, because this is something that you'll find handy, is the reflector name. Like if you want to go and link out to another reflector because there's nobody around on 223, or you just want to go to another country, whatever, you can go ahead and choose that reflector from your destinations that are stored in your radio. Like I said, all the REFs are going to be in there already. XRFs you're going to have to add manually to your radio. But after you add that X reflector into your radio as a destination, it's always there for you. So you can pick a repeater when you're traveling. Say you're back in St. Louis, there's a DStar machine. There's a bunch of them in Florida. I mean, they're all over the place. You can find the local repeater that's already programmed into your radio, find the reflector that you want, and it's like doing a mix and match. I want this repeater, this reflector, key it up, and you're going to link whatever machine you're near back to our network or back to whatever network you want. So that's why, like I say, you only have to set the stuff up in your radio once, and then you can have any combination of repeater and reflector to get you where you want to go. And there again, just a breakdown on the command. You have your reflector prefix, XRF, the reflector number, 223, module Bravo, and the link command at the very end. Hit the push to talk button for just a second. You don't have to key up for very long, and it sends that command in a data burst, and that will respond back to you with a message that says link to XRF 223 Bravo. Other commands, like I mentioned earlier, you will unlink the reflector. This one isn't used so much anymore. In the early days of gateway software, you couldn't just link if it was already linked. Like you had to gracefully unlink first and then send a new link command. There's very few gateways left out there that force you to do that. Ours certainly doesn't. It's much newer software. So unless you just want to unlink because you're playing with the repeater and you don't want to make a fool of yourself on a gigantic network, that's when I use the unlink command, is when I just want to play with the repeater locally and not sound like I'm an idiot on a huge network of linked repeaters. And again, other commands you can send with DV mode that are already programmed in there is E for echo and I for info. And again, the info command is phenomenal. That's it's the digital listeners command, So here's a repeater dashboard. All right, our repeater gateway is running on PiStar. Everybody's familiar with PiStar on their hotspots, with an MMDVM modem or a Zoom spotter or whatever. Well, PiStar also has a mode that will interface directly with an honest-to-goodness ICOM repeater. And that's what we're running up on the hill right now. It's just a little Raspberry Pi that runs it, so we don't need a full-blown Linux box anymore. And this will tell you all kinds of good stuff about when somebody sent a link command. If you see on the bottom, WA0SPM, he sent a link command back to 223 Bravo at 8:07 in the morning. A couple of people looked for info on it. And hey, yeah, that's actually me and Justin. That's right. I remember when I did this screenshot. So you'll get a full traffic report on what's been going in and out of that repeater for, the last few hours or days. This was the night Justin and I had it linked up to Ref 091 Charlie for the international DStar net. So most of the traffic was coming in directly off that reflector from people's different hotspots. We had an entire repeater linked in. Actually, we had 2 repeaters linked in. So anything you want to know about what's going in or coming out of that repeater, you can find on this dashboard page. So instead of sending an info command, like I said, you're in the shack, head on over to k0pra.parkerradio.org and you'll get the screen pop right up in front of you. Any questions on the dashboard?
Nope, you're still good.
Sweet.
Randy did post, that was 10 minutes ago, what's the info command?
So when you send the letter I, it will spit back where the repeater's connected. So you send an I, it will send back link to REF 030 Charlie. And then you're like, oh, all right, I know somebody's got it linked into 030 right now. I'm going to listen for a minute and see if there's a net going on or somebody's having a QSO. If you hear that it's linked to 223, bravo, that's its default home. The repeater is probably idle if you know it's linked on 223 and you haven't heard traffic in a minute or two. Then you can just take it up and link it wherever you want. So hopefully that answers your question, Randy. If not, pop something else in chat. Next is our reflector dashboard. So repeaters and reflectors, 2 different things. Reflectors are a home for 2 repeaters or more repeaters to link to. Many, many repeaters can link in. Think of it like the AllStar Hub, right? You can have hotspots, repeaters, whatever you want linked into this thing. You can link 2 repeaters directly to each other without a reflector. And that's a great way to do a call sign routing call. But for vast majority of DStar users out there, the repeater's on a reflector when they're using it. So our reflector for all our DStar traffic is xrf223.parkerradio.org, and we use the B module, B for Bravo. The B module is also linked in to XRF720, which is the mega transcoder. That's where all the other modes come in and out of. So the reason we was that a question? Heard some noise. The reason we set it up this way is in the event something happens on one of the other digital modes, one of the other reflectors, one of the other repeaters, whatever happens, we can break the link and our DStar infrastructure will remain perfectly intact as DStar infrastructure. We could, in theory, link everything right through XRF 720, but for the $8 a month or whatever it is, the other reflector cost us, I think we're a lot better off keeping things separate. Just in the event something happens, we can have a fully functional standalone DStar system. So any questions on our repeater or reflector dash?
Nothing in the chat yet.
All right. Now, this next one, I wish John was here because I don't think he knows this and he would love this. I didn't find out until recently when I was rebuilding the gateway on PyStar there for the 850 machine that you can actually send DTMF over DStar to control any of the PyStar devices. So whether you're running an ICOM repeater stack on a PyStar instance or your MMDVM board or your Zoom spot or whatever, you can actually send commands without programming your radio, without logging into a web browser. You can just key your mic and send DTMF commands just like an old school analog repeater. So here's just a breakdown of those commands. Again, your call's got to be set to CQ, 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 just like you were having a QSO. And if you send too many DTMF commands in a short period, it tends to freak out. The way I made it hang up on me. I don't think any normal person in their right mind would ever do. But if you start mashing in a lot of DTMF commands in a very short period of time, it will go into this lockdown period where it waits 2 minutes before it accepts any new commands. So see if you can break it, I guess, and we'll figure out if we can fix that later. But it's really not a big deal unless you do something really dumb with it. So if you just send a 0 by itself, it'll send back the same thing as sending the info command, and tell you where it's linked. Sending the pound or hash, depending on what country you hail from, sending a single pound sign will do the equivalent of sending the unlink command, and sending a double star will take it home to XRF 223 Bravo. Sending the letter A will disconnect a CCS call. We're not getting into call sign routing tonight, so you guys probably don't need that. But if you are in a CCS QSO, because you know how to do that sort of thing, sending a DTMF A will break that link down and put the repeater back in a regular use. And then you can also send the reflector link commands. So star commands for reflector links will link you to REF reflectors. Sending DTMF letter B as the prefix for a link command will send you to XRF reflectors, and D will send you to DCS reflectors. It breaks out pretty easy. So you want to go to 021 Bravo, you would go to 02102 because Bravo is the second letter of the alphabet, right? That's how they break those down. All right. Any questions on anything?
Not as of yet. Brian did make a comment. Can he use the DTMF to make an auto patch call with a little bit of LOL?
No, but I have a half-baked idea on how to do that with AllStar. I got to talk to Jeff about that one of these days.
Yeah, it's asterisk. Why not?
Exactly. You do an asterisk bridge and an outbound route with a DTMF
voice number.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
you're going back to memories.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
If I could quickly chime in, just a quick callback to the AllStar, because that's where I kind of skipped over that. For people that are AllStar versed, because we're using this hub and spoke model, the AllStar node up at SQA does not accept DTMF. I mean, not the normal default well-known DTMF. There's some back-end stuff because it is acting as the controller for the repeater that John has. But you can't simply do a *3 bang 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 to get it linked up directly. We're not supporting that. So just a FYI.
Oh, that's right. I remember you explained that to me. All the links have to go through the hub. The repeater's locked.
Right.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
I got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, because I'm very new to the DStar stuff. So once I've sent a link, do I need to flip back to another channel that basically just has the CQ to continue conversing?
Correct. Yes, you do. After you send the link command, you have to go back to CQ mode to use the link you just set up.
Perfect.
All right. Anything else? I just got 1 or 2 more slides here, so I'll be done pretty quick.
No, I think we're good. Doug had put in what's auto patch, but with another LOL too.
Yeah, that's a topic for another day. All right. So the last bit I wanted to put out here is a couple things we've recently changed and things we're thinking about doing. So the link timeout, John's slides that were in the last presentation, they referenced a 15-minute fallback. I just changed that the other day. So I was talking with 1 or 2 other members, and when you're on a long net, and there's some pretty long and wide DStar nets out there that are really interesting, really cool to get on. There's the international DStar net on Sunday evenings. Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern time, there's a real good, or I'm sorry, 4 o'clock Mountain time on Saturdays. There's a real good DStar net on XRF 757 Alpha. That's a great one to listen to also. These nets have lots of turnout. They're huge. They go on for hours. If the repeater is going to fall back in 15 minutes because there hasn't been any local RF activity, you're going to keep getting booted out of that net, and you got to send another link command. And if you goof up when you send the link command, you might transmit all over a net that's got hundreds of people on it, right? Nobody likes kerchunking an entire digital net. Nobody wants to get booted out of a net when they're just listening around the shack. So I went and changed the link timeout from 15 minutes to 2 hours. We could do some creative things with this. We could make it have a longer timeout only during certain periods, or we can make it longer or shorter and have it be a static setting. Sky's the limit. We can script anything. This thing's a Linux box, and cron, grep, and sed can do anything you want. So all that to say, right now, the link will stay wherever you put it for 2 hours. If people have concerns about this, if people have input or anything about this, please use the contact link and let me know. I really want to know how people want to use the system. This is the members repeater. It's not my play toy or just the repeater committee's call to make. I want to make sure every member feels like they have a say in how these complicated repeaters are managed. The next thing that we were thinking about doing were time-locked links. So say 7:30 on Monday nights for our local digital net here in Colorado. I'll write a script. The repeater will automatically link to 223 Bravo and disable link request until 9:30, because that's typically our nets are over by 9:30. That way we don't have to worry about moving the repeater back. We don't have to worry about somebody accidentally sending a link command. I know it happens. It happened once or twice over the last few weeks. I know I've done it myself. You know, it's not like I'm passing judgment or being mean to anybody. So I think at least for our net that we do on Monday nights, we should move the link automatically and lock the repeater there. I mentioned the international net on Sunday nights. That's another pretty big net. Really cool format and everything, how they do it. I was thinking we do a time lock link to 91 Charlie on Sunday nights. Or is that going to step on somebody? Maybe there's somebody else that wants to use the repeater at 6 o'clock on Sunday nights for some other net that they like, right? So I don't want to just unilaterally decide this stuff. So please give us your feedback. Let us know what you think about these time lock nets. And if you like the idea of time lock and you know of another net you want to make sure the repeater is always there for you at, let me know. We'll script it up, we'll put it in there, and then you don't have to worry about link commands or program and memory channels or whatever. The repeater will just be there for you when you want it, you know. So there again, if you have any ideas for an auto link during a specific time, let me know, and we'll see what we can do to accommodate it. And any other ideas, comments, suggestions, anything you guys got, please go to parkerradio.org, use the contact us link, and that will email the entire board, myself included, and we'll do our best to accommodate you. Now, if you're asking for an analog auto patch between DStar and HF, I'm probably just going to laugh at you. But you know what? Ask away. Maybe we can do something interesting. And that's it. That's my last slide. So any last questions, comments about the DStar system or anything else for that matter?
I would say the time locked stuff I think is a great idea. Is just let's get those listed in the events calendar so people can anticipate them and know what's happening when they get switched over. I think it's a great idea. We're kind of thinking about the same thing on the AllStar side, long term. You know, John and I've been talking like automating Newsline. You know, just basically hands off, just Newsline, bang, appears on K0 PRA at a scheduled time in the week, and everybody can listen in. That's kind of cool.
Sure. Oh, and one more thing I'll throw out there. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Wayne.
I was just saying nothing in the chat so far. Brian had just posted, why are there so few DStar repeaters in the area?
Well, there's really not. So if I want to bail out there, if we go back to xrf223.parkerradio.org and go to links. Here, I'm going to, hang on, I got to probably share a different window. I'm sure you guys can't see this right now.
Yeah, all we see is you.
Yeah, and who wants to see that, right?
Well, it's just a big R.
Oh, I never turned the camera back on. You didn't get to see my funky facial expressions, but
Come on.
there we go. All right.
There. All right, that was a little much.
That's what I do here. All right, so here we'll just do the entire screen. We'll share and we'll go back here. So, can everybody see the Reflector page now? Are you seeing that, Wayne?
Yes.
Yeah, we're seeing it. Yep.
Okay, so a lot of these are individual hotspots, but here we are, KC0 CVU Alpha Charlie, and there's a Bravo module somewhere. I don't know where he is right now. He could be linked somewhere else. That is a 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and 23 centimeter stack, DStar stack, way up high in the hills outside of Colorado Springs. Those repeaters will cover way down south and all the way up to Monument. You know, they'll go down. I think you can get them as far south as Pueblo. So there is great I-25 corridor coverage between Monument and way south of the Springs with that repeater stack. This is something else I wanted to throw out there. The N0 KEG Charlie machine. That's the 147315 locally here in Parker. At first, I thought I was going to shut this machine down when the big machine went up on the hill. But the more I think about it, the more I'm going to leave it. There's one or two spots around town where you can't hit the 850 with a handy talkie. It'll work just fine with 5 watts out of a base or 5 watts out of your mobile, but a handy talkie in just the right spot here and there, you'll find a shadow or two. They're few and far between, but this 315 machine does a great job covering in there. It works real well in my basement and inside houses all over Parker. So we're going to leave them right there. So that's another machine, right? Then, well, it looks like some of the other ones are linked out now too. Where's QEY? The QEY machine is up in Greeley. Oh, and there's QPGB. Oh wait, no, CVU. Where'd CVUB go? Somebody's got them linked somewhere. But people are linking these machines all over the place, which is cool. But between the QEY machine in Greeley, the CDS machine in Boulder, this guy here, the 850 machine on Squaw covering Denver, and the stack of repeaters that's covering the Springs from north to south, we have I-25 corridor coverage on DStar from the Wyoming state line all the way clear down south of the Springs. There's also another machine on Raytone Pass that they had some internet issues a while back that they never restored. But if we can get internet back to the Raytone Pass machine, we'll have I-25 corridor coverage on DStar from end to end of the entire state of Colorado. And I know there's a few machines on the western slope too. I've never made contact with those guys. But there's a lot of DStar around. There's a lot more than people really than people realize. That, you know, there's a lot more than I realized until some of the other DStar repeater owners reached out to me when the original 720 Reflector went offline. So there's a ton of DStar floating around out there. So does that kind of answer your question, Brian? I hope.
Yeah, it'll be a couple seconds before he hears that, but
yeah, no, there's a little
so
lag.
far.
All right, cool. And then, yeah, I mean, we got tons of people linked in with hotspots here. The DStar network is, as I like to say, loud and proud in 2 Alpha, Colorado. So I know Justin.
We were 3 Alpha this year.
That's right. We were 3 Alpha this year, but no, DStar's alive and kicking in the Front Range. It's alive and kicking in a lot of places in the country. And I'm so happy we could finally get our machine where it belongs, up on a great big hill to cover the Denver part of of this network.
Yeah, he replied, yeah.
He's good. Cool. All right. And the last thing I'll throw out there is pretty much everything I listed in the presentation as far as programming your radio. You could replace K0 PRA Bravo with N0 KEG Charlie and use the 147.315 frequency. And granted, that's not theoretically a club asset. It's mine, but I don't care. Use it just like a club machine. Link it places. Do stuff with it. That's why I put it out there so people could do stuff with it. The only personal request I have for any of the DStar infrastructure is that it's parked on XRF 223 Bravo at 8 o'clock on Monday nights. And yeah, that's about it. So cheers, boys. It's not tequila, but it's tasty.
Well, Ray and Jeff, just a fabulous job, guys. I gotta just, hats off to you guys. I mean, it's the Jeff, the knowledge that you have on AllStar, Ray, the knowledge that you have on DStar, just absolutely fantastic. And you guys broke it down very, very simply. I mean, both modes can be very complicated if you allow them to be, but you guys just did a fabulous job. And I want to thank you both for just an absolutely fantastic job well done tonight, guys. Thank you so much. So as you can see between Jeff and Ray, these guys are obviously passionate about certain aspects of the hobby. And, it's the members that drive this organization. You probably heard that a lot tonight. So if there's a certain aspect within amateur radio that you are absolutely passionate about and you'd like to give a presentation at one of our monthly meetings, or maybe you have a topic for Elmer Night that Paul had mentioned earlier, please reach out to us. We want to know. We want to give you all the tools and resources to be successful. We'll even set up a dry run of your presentation, maybe a couple nights in advance with either with myself or maybe any other member of the PRA. We want to make sure that you have the tools and resources at your hands for just a successful presentation. And, if it's, it goes without mentioning, if you see a presentation like this tonight, the PRA is in really, really good hands going into the future. So again, Ray, Jeff, great job tonight, guys. Much appreciated. Any more questions on the maybe in the YouTube live chat room? Wayne, anything coming across?
Nope, nothing new. Looking good.
Okay, very good. Well, it looks like we only have a few of the officers left. I'm going to kind of kick it around. Wayne, N0AD, any final comments for tonight?
I just wanted to add, we had the Colorado QSO party, what was it, last weekend, and I came in with 575 contacts. So,
boy,
won't hear anything of, what all that's, if I got first place or where I placed, but it'll probably be a month or two before I know.
Well, congratulations on that.
Yep.
That's a lot more number of contacts than you had last year.
Yep, I won it last year with 417. And this year I probably missed 4 hours of it, but it was from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I pretty much called it quits about 9:30. Just losing my voice. And I had a really good pileup going on 40 for probably a good hour and a half. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was out camping in the woods and I heard that pile up that you were working. So I think it's the #1 contact that you had in the logbook that just made the whole event for you.
Yeah, you were my #1 contact. At like 7:30 in the morning, I think, or 7:20.
Patrick, AI8C, we'll throw it over to you for any final comments.
Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Jeff and Ray, very much for all the information and your sharing of knowledge. And thanks for everybody being on this month. And back to you, Dan.
All right, Patrick. Thank you again. Ray, N0KEG, we'll throw it over to you for your parting words of wisdom.
Oh, I think I've rambled enough, but if you have any other questions on DStar or any part of the digital system for that matter, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you program anything you got, even if it says Fusion on it.
Right.
That's
Wow,
that's
right.
awesome.
We got to give that guy more tequila each night. I think that, he's actually softening up the fusion. I love it. Well, last but certainly not least, Elizabeth, N1RDH. I don't know if she's still with us or not, but Elizabeth, if you're there, we'll give you last word for any parting words of wisdom for us.
Yeah, I'm here. John's got the TV on, so we were at the YouTube looking at it on the big screen. So yeah, I had the video off. But thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Ray, for your presentations. You guys are gods in the ham world. Thank you for your knowledge and for sharing it and helping us all out. Couldn't do it without you. Back to you, Dan.
All right, Elizabeth, thank you. Yeah, I think I'll second, third, and fourth those comments. Just Jeff and Ray just did a fantastic job tonight for sure. So that's going to conclude the September edition of the Parker Radio Association monthly meeting. I'm Dan in 2SRK saying 73, and we look forward to seeing you next week. And set your calendars for next Wednesday. We will have our Elmer night next Wednesday night. We'll have some links going out for that here, likely on Saturday or Sunday. So make sure you keep an eye out to your email account for all that good information. So again, have a great night. 73, we'll see you next month.
73, thanks everyone.